today we're going to be talking about creating a life you love, how I went from waiting, wishing, and wanting to being completely turned on by life itself by reclaiming the most powerful energy in my body. And with that being said, I'd love to start by sharing a short meditation with you guys, just to get us all in the same vibration of really receiving the information that we're going to be going through today. So with that being said, I'll have you kind of sit up straight so that your spine is, elongated, rolling back the shoulders to open the heart space. Taking a few grounding breaths. Becoming really aware of the pace of your breath. Inhaling slowly, guiding that breath into the lower belly first. And then inviting the inhale into the chest. And then a controlled, slow exhale. Continuing with that breath pattern, you can even put one palm on your lower belly and one on your heart. Just to feel that inhale go all the way down into your lower belly so that that lower hand gets pushed out a little bit, and then your chest expands and you feel that on the upper hand. Then a nice slow exhale. Sticking with that, inhale deeply into the lower belly, into the chest. And this time with your exhale, make a sound or a sigh. We're going to do that 2 more times. Good. Once more, inviting some pleasure in this time. Good. Okay, beautiful. Continuing to check in with that breath, keeping your eyes closed. With your next inhale, inviting in the energy of love. Feeling the energy of love in each inhale. Acknowledging that each breath you take is charged with the nutrients that you need to continue being, which is the ultimate gift of love from the universe. And that love in each inhale is alchemized in your heart space. Those nutrients come into your heart to be moved through your circulatory system to each and every cell in your body, so that your entire being is vibrating with the energy of love. Taking this moment now to consider what you love about your body. Where have your legs taken you? Whom have your arms held? What music or laughter have your ears gifted you the ability of experiencing? Just taking this moment now to consider what you love about your body. And what do you love about your mind? What ideas have you conceptualized and brought into reality? What decisions have you made that you're proud of? What beauty or awareness has your intuition led you to discover? In this moment, appreciating your consciousness, your mind. What do you love about your soul? What energy do you bring to the world? How do you make people feel? What are you passionate about? And how do you use your passions to ignite purpose? Taking this moment to truly appreciate the impenetrable core of your being, which transcends lifetimes, your soul. And then considering why your soul chose this lifetime, this body, these opportunities and challenges. What have you come here to grow through or learn from? What are you here to bring to the world? What is your energetic offering? Taking a moment to feel that soul purpose in your body, objectively observing any sensations, thoughts, feelings, or visualizations that may come up in this moment. And allowing that purpose to really fill your heart space. And then feeling the support of the earth beneath you. Recognizing that the earth has all the resources that we need to support this purpose. When you're ready, slowly begin to welcome yourself back into this class, into the present moment. Checking in with your body to see if there are any movements that it requires in this moment to come back. Maybe it's wiggling the toes and fingers. Maybe it's a big full body stretch. Maybe it's a nice neck circle. I know I could always use that. And gently opening your eyes. Bringing with you that soul purpose. Why did your soul choose to be here right now? And I'm sure after connecting to our hearts, to our souls, it wasn't to go to work, sleep, pay bills, and die, right? Especially in this time that we're in when there's a lot of conflict and change, and we have this real opportunity to evolve the collective conscious. I truly believe that everyone who's here, who's in this call, is, a part of that mission, is a real light worker in bringing in the new earth and birthing in new earth. Thank you, Jess, for saying you're honored to be here with me today. I'm honored to be here with you. I really think that we're all mirrors for each other, and the honoring goes all around. So, but touching into this idea of, we didn't come here to just work, pay bills, and die, right? But that's what we've been made to believe leads to happiness. It's like the American dream. You go to school, you get a good job, work hard, work overtime for sure. And then we'll give you this paycheck, but it's likely just going to be enough to cover, your needs, and you'll have a little bit of money, but save that for retirement, so that when you're 65, you can't even do the things that you want to do with your body because you've been sacrificing your health along the way and all these things. And I'm guessing that a lot of people in this kind of can see what's going on. Like, we get that this is happening, and there's some sort of rebellion among all of us, like, this isn't working. And maybe we're at various stages of like breaking out of that, quote unquote matrix. But oftentimes as a society, it's so ingrained, like this system of giving our power away, that like some of us don't even know what we do otherwise. We're not connected to what really gives us pleasure, what really turns us on in the experience of life beyond, the short indulgences of maybe, a glass of wine or, a quick fuck or whatever, a short vacation to escape, your job. And I don't want to say like those things are all fun, don't get me wrong, but in this context, they are really just ways to escape your reality and to keep you from getting in touch with like, what do you really want? Like, what is it that lights your soul on fire, that makes you obsessed with your own life, makes you obsessed with yourself in a really, compassionate way, in the way that says, I'm obsessed with my life and you should be too. We all deserve to be this like stoked to be here as humans. That's how I feel, at least. So essentially, you're basically dead as it is if you're in this paradigm, right? But what if I told you that the biggest impact you can make on the planet right now is to create a life that you love? Can you guys relate to this at all? Do you feel like this makes sense? Maybe you tried working the normal, 9 to 5 corporate thing and it just like isn't working or wasn't working for you. Or maybe you were skeptical from the start and you kind of tried to start a business or like follow your artistic pursuits, but you felt a lot of, worthiness issues coming up in your own brain, or like, how is this going to work? I don't know anyone else that has done this successfully. Or maybe you're getting judgment from others. And it's just like really keeping you from, fully being in the enjoyment, the pleasure of like all of the, freedom and the pleasure that came with, choosing that life path. Right. But does like this idea of, feeling this impact to create a life you love, does that feel in resonance with what you tapped into in the meditation? Like this idea that you can have impact just by being like in your desire. You guys feel free to chat in the chat box as well. I know Meg really resonates. Thanks for sharing that. But it's also tapping into this feeling of like, is it possible to have the abundance and freedom it may require to be of purpose, in purpose, and have a life I love? Some of us feel like there's going to be challenges along the way and inevitable failure, and maybe that's uncomfortable. That's definitely something that I faced as well. And I'll have to say that failure is inevitable. Problems are inevitable no matter what work you're doing. But at the end of the day, you get to choose what those problems are, and you get to choose to see failure as a roadmap, as a way to point you in the right direction, to make a tweak, or maybe to go in a different way. But I'm curious if this feels believable for you. Maybe you're totally on board. You're like, yes, I know that creating a life I love is my path to purpose, as well as my path to helping, the entire world. But I just haven't figured out how to do it. I'm a little bit confused on where to start. There's not a lot of, positive role models out there for me. I'm not getting to see the behind the scenes stuff that's happening. Or maybe it's just too hard to believe at this point at all. I've definitely felt both of those at many points in my journey. Doubt is an interesting marker as well of where we're at and our beliefs, and that's also something to lean into. Moving on with this, I think I accidentally went backwards here. Okay, so I want to kind of step into, what does it actually feel like to create a life you love? Like, what does that look like, so we can all get clear on, the base standard for creating a life you love. So to me, when you're completely turned on by life, you know that anything less than living in your soul purpose is not only a disservice to yourself, but it's also a disservice to the world. So this means that like, you've got these incredible gifts, you've got these beautiful talents and unique qualities to bring to the world. And to not do that, to not live in that, is like, you're not fulfilled because you don't have this purpose. And then on top of that, like, everyone else is missing out. You also feel safe to pursue and receive your deepest desires. And to me, what this looks like is, oftentimes when we get something that we wanted or that feels good, that we like to receive, we often get stuck in like a mind drama. Like, for example, if you get like a raise at work, or you sign a new client, or you have some sort of money coming in, it often turns into, oh, well, I have this unexpected expense that I have to pay for, and how am I going to cover this and that? And like, it's all going to be gone before I can really receive it and enjoy it, right? Or maybe you're in, an intimate setting, you're in, sexual pleasure, and you're feeling this incredible pleasure, but then you're in your mind of like, am I going to orgasm? When am I going to orgasm? It's taking too long. My partner doesn't want to wait for this. I've got to just like, and so you're not only are you like probably not going to have the orgasm because you're stuck in this, but you're also not enjoying what is there in the moment, which is receiving this incredible pleasure that's coming in that may not be climactic, but is just generally feels good, right? Also, when you're, creating a life you love, it's seeing hardships as opportunities to trust, being empowered to create a life you love alongside the universe. So this is like realizing that your mess can be your message, and you can transform your pain into purpose or even pleasure as well. It's seeing like, even the complicated things can have a silver lining, and like, I can spin this because I'm a divine creatress, or creator. It's also, being fully present for your pleasure. This kind of goes back to what I was speaking to earlier, turning your heartbreaks into initiations of self-love. It's seeing like that all of our relationships are mirrors for what's going on inside. So if we feel like, a lover has abandoned us in some way, it's often ourselves. Like, we've abandoned a part of ourselves, and we get to fall in love with that, which is really exciting. And it's also seeing that your truth inspires others to show up authentically and vulnerably alongside you. It's seeing that when you speak your truth, you're worthy of having that truth, spoken. You're worthy of sharing it. It's safe to be who you are. And that also inspires other people to step into their truth, to be who they are too, which is incredibly powerful. We all know and want more authenticity in this world, right? And you also become the boss of your own life. No more giving your power away to your problems. No more victimhood. No more letting parents, religion, society, or even gurus be like the end all and be all of what works. I mean, it's not to say you don't appreciate the perspectives, but you get to make your own rules. You get to take what they have to say and then come back home to yourself. And in that way, you really become a light for others, which is really, really exciting as well. And, kind of stepping into that further, what happens when, we live in a world where more people are turned on by life itself? To me, it's really like this infinite reaction that, can go into the world. You inspire other people. When you become turned on by life, you are operating at a higher vibration of love and trust. And your every interaction becomes this unconscious energetic exchange, so that everyone that you're in contact with is left off better than you were before. I think we've all witnessed this at some level. Like, you come across someone and, you're going into like a place, a service place, for example, and you're expecting it to be this, really painful experience, but they're so like, the person working the desk or whatever is so helpful, and like, you can tell that they're just like, they're grateful for where they're at. They can see how this plays, a bigger role in their, cosmic situation. And it's amazing. And we've also all experienced the opposite, right? Where we're dealing with someone that's just obviously not happy to be where they're at. But you can see how, like, after that interaction, more often than not, you're absorbing a little bit of the energy of the interaction. And then you go on your day and you're either carrying this like, nah, or you're carrying this like, oh, things are working for me, right? And so when you're able to show up in that way, every single person you touch gets to, go on with that more positive outlook too, to feel into that. So when you're creating a life you love, you almost become like intoxicating. And I know for myself, the more that I've worked with, Tantra and sacred sexuality, the more people I've had randomly approach me, like friends and family, saying, you've really evolved a lot very quickly. Or, even on social media saying like, you exude this like luxurious sort of energy. What are you doing? How did you get there? And that's honestly how I started doing the work that, I'm doing now, was just having lots of people ask, but it was a long process. And that's definitely something that I want to bring more people into, how this happens and how to cut through like the crap, you know, not to say that all of the resources that I've used up until now have all been amazing. But you're definitely getting this sense of really old school sort of modalities and teachings that aren't always very applicable to our modern way of living and the modern stressors that we face. And then you have lots of like, again, the gurus that it's just like, you have to follow everything to a T. Otherwise you're never going to have enlightenment, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. And it's just not how it works. And it doesn't have to be that way. It can be that way, but it doesn't have to. And I'd love to share that perspective. And that's why we're here right now. But the idea is that when more people are turned on by life, there's more evidence that it is possible out there in the world too, that life is more than, again, work, bills, and death, right? So you're showing people that there's another way to do this that's a lot more fun and transformative too. And that's really how we evolve the collective. When you're bringing this light into the world, someone else turns on a light and someone else turns on their light. And then it becomes this really expansive, infinite sort of effect that you can have just by being, you know, your pure self, which is super exciting. But how do we do it? How do we do it? To me, it all starts with sex. It all starts with how we came into this world. Sex made me. It made you. It made everyone listening. It also makes all the food that we eat. All the plants in the world are made by some sort of, you know, reproductive energetic exchange. All of the animals too. Even the clothes that we're wearing, if it was made from some sort of plant fiber or animal fiber, also made by sex. I mean, if you look around you, almost everything that you see was either directly created via this sexual energetic exchange, or it was created by someone or something that was created by, you know, someone that was created by a sexual energetic exchange. So we really see that it's like the fabric of our reality. And given that sexuality touches us all so intimately, and that it creates our existence and drives us through it, like the idea of living in your body is what, you know, keeps us alive, keeps us with this desire to live. When we understand that it's really this fabric of our existence, we can also get a sense that when you learn how to harness this energy, your life force can empower you to create more juicy and expansive realities. I see you guys asking some questions. I love it. I'm going to come back to these at another point too. So don't think that I'm ignoring you. I'm definitely going to come back to these. I just want to get through the points. Cool. Super excited to follow up with all of these though, as we are coming into the to the close of this, but we still have some juice and some time here. Okay, cool. So when we reclaim our eroticism, we are able to channel it. We're able to channel it into all aspects of our lives, to even have something that you may or may not have heard of called a Kundalini awakening experience, which is really where you're stepping into more expansive perspectives of reality. It's like nothing around you changes, but you can see it all differently, which is really exciting in a really beautiful way. We're able to alchemize pain into purpose, to trust the divinity of life. When we master our sexual energy, we are really able to channel it, to bring it into every moment of our life, so that we are turned on by life itself. We are tapping into the original creative force when we're working with our life force energy or our sexual energy. And on that note, I know that I keep saying things like life force and Kundalini and sexual energy and eros and all of these things. And I'm going to kind of go a little bit deeper to explain that these are all the same thing. Okay. And this quote I think is so great for that. And it's Abraham Hicks. Sexual energy and spiritual energy are identical energy. When you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, that's turned on. When source energy flows through you, it flows through you. You cannot separate one from the other. I love this. I love this quote. And to me, this is saying that like this energy of being turned on can be called life force energy, or it can be called eros, or it can be called kundalini, but it's all the same thing. And you may even like start to get this sense of like, oh, I felt that I felt this energy in a non-sexual setting. For me and for many of the people that I work with, you often feel it when like I feel it when I'm working on something really exciting, like working on this experience to share with you guys. I really felt it. I felt this like, ooh, I'm turned on. I'm excited about this, you know? Or when I'm painting. Maybe you felt it when you met someone new, like a new friend, and like, again, not in a sexual way, but you could just like feel this almost like, ooh, I'm a little bit like turned on by this person. It's like, I feel like they're going to be a big part of my life. Funny story, I actually had that experience happen, and I was like, I'm heterosexual, very mostly. But I remember when I met one of my best friends, I was like really turned on in her presence. And I was like, am I like, is my sexuality changing? Like, this is so weird. I have no desire to be with her intimately in any way, and never have, but I literally felt this like, ooh, like this person's going to be a big part of my life energy. Some people feel it when they're deep in yoga or in meditation, this like sort of like a wave might come over you. For me, I feel it as like a fluttering at the base of my spine. And it kind of just like zips up and warms me. Have you guys felt anything like this? This would be a good time to jump into the chat box if you feel like you've had something like this happen and you kind of want to share what that was like. I'm going to go ahead and answer Jess while you guys tap in some messages if you'd like. So Jess had said, I fear I will lose interest once I go after the life that I love. Making my pleasures work will possibly get mundane, and I put in so much effort and changes that will go to waste. What I have to say about this is like, you might change your mind. Like, you might be like, oh, I actually want this other thing, but it's all about the process. Like, if you're having fun in the process of creating that life, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh, okay, like I see this, but like I actually have this stream now. Great. Then you get to do it again. Like, that's the fun part about life, is that you're constantly creating. And there's something like in that process of creating the first life that you love. You're learning all of these things to make it easier the next time. And that's when you become this real magnet, that there starts to be less of like a time lag in when your deepest desires like come to fruition, if that makes sense. Jess had said as well, when I'm with my friends, it sets my heart on fire. I love that. Community is so important. And that's why I love these live calls, because we do get to connect like as a tribe, which is really beautiful. And John Ilda, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, or maybe it's just John. Let me know. But you're welcome for being here. You had asked, how can we deal with the fear of going after the life you want but not getting it? What if you get disappointed? And what are some of the signs that tell you this is the life you want? Sometimes I feel I don't read the signs. Sometimes I feel I ignore them, because if they are against my current reality, I have some people go or take drastic changes to get there. Yeah, so love this question. And so much of this is about like learning to trust yourself again, which we'll go into more, because what tends to happen is we're giving our power away. And so we forget how to like really trust ourselves and to trust our desires. So I'm going to go into that a bit more, and I'll answer that as well. Mauricio had said, I think that I felt that energy when I eat something really delicious or try a new dish, especially desserts. I love this. That's such a good example of feeling that life force within you. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to keep going so that we can get to those other pieces that I had discussed. Okay, perfect answer to your question. How do I create the life that I love? Really, truly, you take your power back, which is really exciting. You take your power back. We often are so used to giving our power away, to giving our life force away, that it like, I mean, it starts with our sexuality, really. When we're kids, we're told that, you know, we're not even allowed to like name our sexual parts, right? They were called like pee and like bottom and, you know, things like that. And so we start out with this like, you know, shame around this power based on like where it originates, right? And then we're being told, you know, it's wrong or dirty to, you know, take part in these unless it's in a very, predetermined context, such as marriage. And that often, kind of goes against our nature as well. Even seeing that, like, things like pleasure and emotion, like when we're kids and we scream with joy, we're told to, be quiet and calm down. Or if we're screaming from anger or sadness, we're also told to calm down. We're told not to, like, listen to our bodies and to listen to, like, what's going on. We're not taught the proper way to channel our emotional energy. And when I say emotions, I'm talking about energy in motion. That's what emotions are. So we're often told to, like, hide them in our bodies, and then they get stuck. And then we can't tell what we really want, or what is this stuck emotion that's, like, ruling our reality. And, we're starting at our sexuality because, as we know now, that's the fabric of our existence, but as above, so below. So the way that you're approaching, pleasure and intimacy and sexuality often touches all other aspects of our lives. And in the way that if we're giving away our power in that way, we're also giving away our power in the work that we do. We're giving away our power in relationships. We're staying in relationships that aren't really serving us, or we're not sticking up for, like, our needs or our preferences or our boundaries, things like that. I mean, we're instructed from a very young age to give our power away, to not think for ourselves, to not listen to what our bodies are telling us. We're told to listen to our parents. We're told to listen to governments. We're told to listen to our teachers, scientists, religious authorities, etc. And I don't want to say that these institutions, like, are wrong by any means, but the idea is that, like, you get all of the narratives. You, like, take it all in, like, this is what the government says, this is what my mom is saying, like, all of the things. But then you get to say, based on all that I know and what I feel in my body, I'm going to decide what direction to take. It's about investing your energy. Instead of giving your energy away, you're investing it into yourself and into the direction that you feel is in most alignment with your desired outcome or your purpose. So again, not to say that these institutions don't have their merit, not to say that your parents don't want the best for you, because they most certainly do, but we're coming into a time where we get to be our own authority. We get to have the balance of looking at all the data, looking at the experiences of others, respecting our elders, and choosing for ourselves. Based on all of this information that I have from all of these incredible resources, what do I feel in my body? And that's the direction I'm going to go in. Okay. So it's really tapping into our soul longing and our intuition for what will work for us. And the beautiful thing is that everyone is unique and the world is always changing. There is no constant except your relationship with yourself. And that's why it's so important to get back into that relationship, to take that power back. Intuition is something that was so completely disregarded as woo-woo where I grew up. I'm not sure if it was like that for you listeners, but it's time to take that back. It really is. Even in many new age lineages of, mindfulness and stuff, it's like, worship the guru, follow the prescribed path, and then that's how you find nirvana, etc. So we need to begin to come back to ourselves to see the divine within ourselves. But we can reclaim this energy. We can totally harness it, and to bring this energy of being turned on into every aspect of our lives. And that's how we really become our own guru as well. Moving into talking about, understanding the energetic body and how this energy moves in our body. I really love the way the Hindu lineages of Tantra explain the way that Kundalini moves through the Kundalini Chakra system, which we see here in this beautiful woman. And this is also a great example of how to respect and feel gratitude for, the teachings of the past, for, elders, whatever, but still be able to create your own. Like, I've studied under these Hindu lineages. I've also studied sacred sexuality from Christianity, from that perspective, from more shamanic Tantra lineages. I've worked one-on-one with people. I've worked in group settings, and in every single situation, I don't think there's been a single person I've worked with that I'm like, I love everything you do. I'm doing all of it and nothing else. I take a little bit here and I take a little bit there, and then I get to create what works for me, what really resonates, right? So I'm super grateful for this roadmap that I've been provided, which is the Kundalini Chakra system, because it is so much of what I base my work on. So according to Tantra, Kundalini energy rests like a coiled serpent at the base of our spine. And when we become turned on, when we begin to awaken this life force energy, and again, this isn't just in sexual settings, we can bring this into every moment of our lives. But when we start to wake that up, that energy flows up through our energy centers. Oftentimes, though, we have the energy centers are misaligned or blocked, again, because we have trauma and limiting beliefs and fears that like keep us from fully experiencing that presence of the energy moving through our bodies. So to expand on that, we have these chakras. Chakra means wheel in Sanskrit. And so we have these energy centers that are like wheels. They're kind of like these vortexes. And they're located in this central channel along the body. There are 7 main chakras from the base of the spine up to the crown of the head. And each is associated with a different aspect of our being. And as we begin to understand, what each of these chakras governs, it can help you identify like where you're giving your power away, basically where you have some sort of, limiting belief or trauma or fear that's getting in the way of that energy fully moving through you. So what tends to happen is when we have, these opportunities to give our power away, we have these traumas and triggers. It creates an energetic block, right? It's like the energy can't move through because I have this fear here. And that creates dis-ease in the energetic body. And to me, everything is energy, but the energy is playing out on our physical plane, right? So when we have this block in our energetic body, it creates dis-ease. Our energetic body is out of ease. It's not feeling great. And if over a long period of time, if we don't resolve that, if we don't come home to ourselves and address those blocks, that dis-ease in our energetic body becomes physical disease. We start to see things like in the root chakra, which is the lowest chakra, near our perineum, our sexual organs, things like that. A lot of, children that are in homes where there's a lot of conflict or just don't feel safe, maybe divorced parents going back and forth, they might have, things like wetting the bed or, having problems with potty training, things like that, which was something that like I experienced to be, completely vulnerable with you guys. Another really common one that we could describe would be the heart chakra. If you have an energetic block here, often it's like kind of like that hunched sort of, thing that people do with their bodies. That's to protect your heart. So that you're not broken again, you're not hurt again. I don't want to be seen because that would make me vulnerable to the potential of love coming into my life. The opposite of that would be a different type of imbalance, and the heart chakra would be something like CEOs or very capitalistic people that like work really hard and have a lot of stress. They're often, not taking care of themselves, not really loving themselves. And oftentimes if they're working for, a modern business, oftentimes those are really exploiting a lot of people. And that can cause us to have to shut down our heart center, to shut down our compassion. And so a lot of people that, are in these spaces have a lot of like heart conditions, have heart attacks, things like that. So that's another way to think about it. For myself growing up, I also used to have a lot of like strep throat and like coughs and things like that. And to me, it's very obvious that it was because I didn't feel safe to speak my truth. I didn't feel like I would be welcome, that it would be okay for me to be who I am. So I just closed it off. I didn't speak. People that have lots of depression or more mental issues or headaches and things like that, it's often a third eye sort of intuition, not trusting yourself. Going against your better judgment over a period of time leads you to not trust yourself, anxiety here, or, the crown chakra as well, just not feeling connected to the oneness that we all are as well. So those are just some examples of, getting a sense of how these energetic blocks can really keep you from, reclaiming that power. But again, once you get a sense of this, once you're able to be in your body and feel into it, that's what it takes to move the energy. Okay. Beautiful. So continuing here. At this point, I'd love to introduce you guys to a course that I'm now launching. It's called Turned On by Life. It's a 4-month tantric journey for the art of living. And this is really the opportunity to go deep into each of these chakras, to tailor a program, a tantric lifestyle that works directly for you based on what's going on in your energetic body. So we'll use the Kundalini Chakra system as a roadmap to create a tantric lifestyle, exploring spiritual intimacy, embodiment, mindset, and artistic expression. This course encourages you to dismantle those limiting beliefs and societal conditionings to empower you to reclaim the most powerful creative force in your body, which, as we know, is the same as your sexual energy. So as you harness this inner power, you create a pleasure-filled life that feels so juicy that you're overflowing with purposeful desire. So I'm going to go over quickly, the depth that we'll be going with here. So again, it's 4 months. We have 9 modules here. We'll be starting with awakening arrows. So just learning about how this energetic system really works overall. And getting a sense of how to begin to awaken that energy and to feel it in your body, being able to witness this energy. Then we'll talk about getting to the root. So talking about the root chakra, this is going to be in alignment with, are you feeling safe in this energy? Does it feel okay to express yourself in this world, to step out, to be who you are? And then we'll get in touch with emotional alchemy. So this is the sacral chakra, which is the second chakra. And we'll be touching on, pain and pleasure and how to really use emotion or energy and motion to create consciously your reality. Looking at the extremes of, like, how do we alchemize pain? How do we feel safe to fully receive the pleasure? Then we'll be going on to module 4, which is ego on purpose. Here we're working with the solar plexus, which is this area. The solar plexus is really stepping into, like, feeling comfortable to be seen, to be confident, to live in purpose, to let go of the ego that worries so much about what other people are thinking of you. And if you're worthy of this purpose that you have as well. Module 6 will step into the heart space. So talking about unconditional love, really loving yourself first. And then how does that show up in your relationships? How are you, mirroring with other people? And how do you find a way to love everyone and also to love all that is the world, including, the things that feel really, like terrors, right? Being able to see that everything has its place in this world, and how do we make peace with that and love this as the totality of the human experience. And it's also, coming into those heartbreaks as initiations as well, seeing, like, the painful things as a moment to find compassion for yourself too. Then we'll be moving into sharing your highest truth. So talking about the throat chakra. For this one, getting in touch with, what do you really want? What is your real truth? How do you confidently share that with others? It's definitely another one of our main creative centers, which is, creating a life you love, right? And then it's also seeing that as you create, as you share your truth, you are inspiring all the people around you to also see that there is evidence that this can be done, which again creates a more authentic and vulnerable, environment holistically. Then we'll be talking about opening the third eye. So the third eye is all about our intuition. It's about trusting ourselves. It's really fully coming back in to that power. It's, being able to touch into the things that you're feeling and seeing that aren't necessarily perceived with our naked 5 senses. It's like that gut reaction, or that, you get those chills when something really lights you up, or whatever it is. It's leaning into that trust. Then we'll be talking about embodying your highest self. So this is really coming into the crown chakra. This is seeing that we're all divine. We have this oneness, like, I'm a king or queen or goddess, God, and so are you. We all have this innately in us because we are all one, and fully embodying that highest timeline available for you. And then we'll go into just integrating. What does it look like when we're applying all of these, moments and modalities to create a tantric lifestyle that really sets us up for, this amazing expansion. And that's what Tantra means. Tantra actually means woven modalities for expansion. So we'll be working with lots of different things, including sexuality, because that is such an important piece of this. But just to kind of go over what each module includes. Again, each module lasts 2 weeks. So the first thing we'll be doing is a 90-minute, maybe 2-hour lesson and live group coaching call. So you guys will also have a chance to come on and speak, to share what's going on. And we'll also spend, each week we'll go deep into one of those chakras. Included in that will also be a guided meditation to root in and support with that integration. There will also be a workbook with activities, journaling, course materials, and homework. I also included, which I'm really excited about, art therapy assignments. I do have an art therapy life coach certification. And to me, when we're talking about like creating a life that you love, art therapy is so powerful to like physically create something in a sitting. It's so boosting and also really therapeutic as well. So I'm really excited to include that too. There will, of course, be pleasure and embodiment rituals to touch into that intimacy piece. An exclusive WhatsApp group check-in. I also want to go back here to also say that the dates on this slide correspond to the live group lessons and coaching calls for each module. So each call will take place at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and they will all be recorded. So it's not necessary for you to be present for any or all of the calls if you'd like to take part in this group container, although live participation is always encouraged. But the playbacks will be made available to all participants with lifetime access, along with all of these other amazing course materials. And if you didn't, make it to one of those calls, again, we have that exclusive WhatsApp group check-in, so you can, still contribute in that way, and also, get in touch with other people, maybe team up and get connected for some of the activities that we'll be doing. And then, of course, there will be, other extended resources along the way that I'll offer, like, movement medicine, podcast episodes, books, music, things that, if you feel like something's missing, that I have this other opportunity to go deeper, this is really your chance to like create what works for you, to be creative and to co-create with each other, to say, oh, I love doing this, and I applied, this concept to my painting, and this is what I did. And it's, again, that opportunity to really inspire each other as well. There's also an included optional VIP upgrade, which includes 4 one-on-one coaching sessions, in the duration of our time together over this container. And there will also be one-on-one text and voice note support too. So in addition to the group chat, you'll also have, one-on-one support as well. Cool.
And that just about wraps up the recording of the live masterclass. I did do quite a lengthy Q&A at the end of the masterclass as well. So I definitely want to encourage you, if you have any questions for me about this group coaching course experience, or about any of my other offers, or about, anything with sacred sexuality, I'm happy to open myself up to hold space for that. Additionally, I would love to touch in on the special offer that I'm offering in regards to the course, the investment, the energetic exchange. I originally was going to end the special offer, which is quite, a big discount on the investment. I was going to end it today, the day after the masterclass, but because of some technical difficulties and delays in getting, the replay out to you guys, I've decided to extend it until Sunday the 10th. So that gives you a little bit more time to feel into this, to, take a few listens to this episode if you'd like to. That being said, you can kind of check out all the details at talktantra2me.com/turned-on, or you can just go to talktantra2me.com and then click on the Work With Me tab, and you should be able to find it from there. And definitely, again, if you have any questions, pop into my Instagram DMs or email talktantra2me@gmail.com. But thank you so much for, as always, opening yourself up to the idea of sacred sexuality. And if this podcast resonates with you, I'd love to hear it in the reviews. It means the world to me to hear your perspective. And also those reviews help, bounce this podcast up a bit in the algorithms, which means that more people are able to benefit from the wisdom of spiritual intimacy. And if you'd like to take an even more proactive role in awakening the collective to sacred sexuality, I'd love it if you screenshotted this podcast and shared it on your social media. And if you do so, please tag me so that I can thank you personally. With so much gratitude and love, have a sexy and spiritual day, and I'll catch you next time on Talk Tantra to Me. Ta-ta!